Brought to you in association with Grendel Press. This is Werewolf, the podcast, a serial killer drama.
Hello, this is Will, your werewolf, and this is episode 5 of Werewolf, the podcast. I hope you're keeping up. I've been captured by the army and I'm slowly being interrogated. Last episode was about me getting my life story out there as being questioned by the chief. This time we're going to move on and we're going to look at the reasons why I hunt and do the things that I do. Why I hunt. After listening to my origin story, the chief sat with his mouth open for a while. Okay, not quite as cool as Batman's, but that got, I was born in Rochdale. Okay then, why do you hunt humans? You could eat other sources, could you not? The chief now asked. So I continued my story. Initially, he just listened, and then he had a secretary come in and take notes in shorthand. The chief was older than I usually favoured, but he was super hot and showing some intrinsic excitement in me, so I began to wax lyrical. Why do I hunt? I repeated, a finger placed on my somewhat hairy chin. It runs before me. I paused in that Captain Kirk style, looking off camera. The beast! Another pause, using the sniff the fart acting method incorporated by Joey Tribbiano in Friends. It always feels on the edge of escape. It thinks it has gone beyond my reach, and as it just becomes a little bit more exhausted, I remind it of my presence. I am the shadow in the trees. I can taste its foul odour. The pungent rancor of its body makes me retch. I can smell its fear. I smiled and briefly made eye contact with the secretary as I lowered my eyes to the ground as though in thought. It knows me. It knows that it will not escape me. It hopes, it really hopes that it can be free. That is the fuel for my hunt. The removal of that hope. It knows that its time has come. Its life of committing horrific deeds on others has come to an end. I then slump, sigh and slouch as though exhausted by this admission. I begin the next part of my monologue, whispering weakly and building to a crescendo. I am its downfall. Its descending angel of death. I am its demise. I revel in the hunt, the finding of the beasts and the broken, those too far gone and sickened by a lust for the things that should not pass or happen. I find them. I kill them. I hurt them before they die. The pain for them is a release at first. At first I give them the idea they have a chance to escape, a hope they have to outrun me, a dream that everything is going to be okay. They have done the unimaginable in being able to get away from me and start again, a new life, a new place. They break down and cry. They have tears of joy. At first, they are once again careful. They hide their true natures. They fit back into human society, but they cannot live without satiating their horrific needs. They need to hurt those that don't deserve it. They need to scar and kill, often psychologically destroying others before either killing them or driving them to madness. As they start to gain confidence, I remind them of my existence, a simple clue as to the fact that I am watching them, that the thought that they are free is a lie. The hope they had has been quashed by me, much as the hope of the victims before them. I wiped the back of my hands across my eyes as if to disperse the tears that flowed. God, this is an outstanding performance. I feel the secretary's excitement and his empathy. He fucking admires me. The chief, well, as usual, he gives nothing away. At this point, they run again. They can't ask anyone for help. What would they say? What would they say? They run again. This time I pursue. I run with them and direct them to where I want them to be. I let them think that they have a choice as to the path they take. This is not true. They are led to their own ends by my directions to the place of their own conclusions. A cleansing of them. I am cruel, I hurt, I tear, I rend flesh. They live in fear of me, and my life's journey through the centuries has been for the hunt of those that should not exist. Those abominations that live for hurting, that live for causing pain in others, and that live for no other thing than committing evil. I am humanity's saviour, the anti-hero in the night, undertaking the deeds that others cannot or will not undertake to rid the world of the world's, well, naughty people. I beat my chest and throw myself on the floor, crying like a toddler. I shudder as my body is racked with sobs. I sit up and then I laugh. Wouldn't that be cool if it was actually true? Rip up the transcript, hot stuff. That was nonsense. I just chase and kill for the sheer pleasure of doing so. There's no morals and no ethics. It's just for the pleasure of it. I don't really have rhyme or reason for who I choose. I just really like to torture and murder. No need to justify myself or to try and be an apologist for my actions. What I like best is the moment where they break mentally. The way that comes about is often massively different for each person. On top of having to change the methods of torture and murder for each person, I have to consider how strong they are. I have to admit, the stronger, the better for me. I like a challenge. If that is your want, the stories that I will share are those of that had the strongest wills. They make the best tales. I am enamoured with those who want to survive and even try to fight back. They try to fight against the odds. I love the bravery of unexpected people. I'm going to tell you some stories. Okay, Will. Could you give me an example of one of your most recent kills? I would love to try to kind of understand the brain that sits in your head. The chief smiles and nods. Please indulge me. No problem, I said, breaking into my next story. And that's the end of this episode too. Well, it's episode 5? I'm not sure, but it's the end of this episode. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, then there's a link down in the description. If you'd like to buy my book, there's a link down in the description. If you'd not like to do either of those, then think about sharing my story somewhere or telling someone how wonderful I am. It would be lovely. And of course, at the end of it all, remember, I love you.
Brought to you in association with Grendel Press. This is Werewolf, the podcast, a serial killer drama.